You've read about them. You know who they are. I mean, we were second in recruiting last year. A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team, made a deal for name, image, and likeness.
First of all, I'll say it's a shame that we have to do this. It's despicable that a reputable head coach could come out and say this when he doesn't get his way or things don't go his way.
Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher used to be best friends. How good of friends? Well, during Nick Saban's tenure at LSU, Jimbo Fisher was Nick Saban's offensive coordinator. The two combined to help put out consistently one of the best offenses in college football. But since, and especially recently, the two haven't necessarily gotten along. Jimbo Fisher has called Nick Saban a literal narcissist, and Nick Saban called Jimbo Fisher a cheater. But is any of that the truth? Is Jimbo Fisher cheating? Is Nick Saban really a narcissist? But more importantly, how did the new college football NIL deal ruin these two seemingly excellent friendships? Now, before we get to the content, just want to let you guys know I am out of town this weekend. Your boy is going to EDC. If you happen to bump into him, come say hi. I did my absolute freaking best to get you guys a video a day while I was gone. I think I'm gonna miss one day. A lot of it's documentary content. If you could take a minute to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications, that'd be greatly appreciated. We're giving away $500 in total to my Twitter followers at Microphone NFL. Now that we got all that out of the way, break! Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher didn't just start beefing. To give you some background, the two coached together at LSU and even managed to win the national championship in 2003. Although Nick Saban would eventually leave to take the Miami Dolphins job and eventually fail. If you guys want a video on Nick Saban in Miami, let me know in the comment section down below. But Jimbo Fisher would stay at LSU and would help quarterbacks like Jamarcus Russell finesse the entire NFL into believing they were good enough to be a #1 overall pick. Yes, the reason why people actually thought Jamarcus Russell was the best player in the NFL draft was mainly because of Jimbo Fisher. Since Nick Saban's departure, however, Jimbo and Nick have seemingly been good friends. As of now, Jimbo Fisher coaches at Texas A&M, a team located in the SEC alongside Saban's notorious Alabama Crimson Tide dynasty. The two have had a one-sided rivalry during the entire tenure of Jimbo's coaching career, but after the recent NIL feud the NCAA went through about a year ago, things might change. For those of you guys who don't know what NIL deals are, NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. Before 2021, players weren't allowed to make money off of their name, image, or likeness. Hell, that's why Destroying got kicked off of his football team, because he was so profitable on YouTube that the NCAA didn't like it. After years and years of college athletes pushing to be treated like normal laborers, they finally can get paid. However, not in the way that people thought they would. The NCAA let players sign NIL deals because they wanted players to be able to make a few dollars because they played Division I college football, and rightfully so. But ever since the NIL deal's implementation, it's being used in a way only comparable to NFL free agency. And this affects Nick Saban tremendously, as Nick Saban has been very dominant in talent acquisition prior to the NIL deal. Now, they were designed primarily so local businesses could sponsor a local college athlete and pay them in order to promote their brand or product using their name, image, and likeness. However, that's not really how they're being used. Smaller colleges are using donors' money, which is money donated to the college by previous alumni, to literally pay college athletes to play for their school. This isn't just happening to incoming freshmen though. NIL deals are literally being used to convince players on college rosters already to enter the transfer portal and pick the destination with the most cash. For example, Jordan Addison won the 2021 Biletnikoff Award for the most outstanding wide receiver in college football, and he just entered the transfer portal. Now, I have nothing against a player getting a bag for their talents. However, you can't deny the fact that this is definitely going to change college football. As a result of the NIL deal, 19-year-old kids are getting paid millions of dollars to transfer schools instead of waiting on the bench like the past several generations of athletes have done. Imagine if instead of riding the bench at Ohio State for 3 years, Joe Burrow just transferred his first year to a school that offered him the most money, Again, there is nothing wrong with players getting paid, but using money to lure players to your team in the transfer portal is literally the same thing as NFL free agency, just with a different name. Now, this brings us to the argument of Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban, because the coach who's been doing this the most has been Jimbo Fisher, who had the best recruiting class last year, and when his former boss, Nick Saban, was asked about it, he said,
"You've read about them, you know who they are. I mean, we were second in recruiting last year, A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team, made a deal for name, image, and likeness. We didn't."
Now this is where it gets spicy, because after hearing these comments, Jimbo Fisher, rightfully so, was pissed. Imagine being told by the guy who notoriously has been paying athletes under the table for years that you are buying your entire recruiting class. Nick is right, Jimbo is buying his entire class, but Nick has been doing it for years, although he's been doing it illegally. Now, what started all of this? In the beginning of May, Jimbo Fisher was asked whether or not he was waiting for Nick Saban to retire in order to finally dominate the SEC, to which Fisher replied, "We're going to beat his ass," and soon followed up with, "Yep, check back in 2026 or so." Now, this is obviously just friendly banter between the two. Of course he's going to say that he's going to try to beat Saban. What is he supposed to say? "No, we suck, and we're going to let Nick Saban beat us." Saban heard this, however, and took it to heart, and as previously mentioned, called out Jimbo Fisher for essentially paying his entire freshman class to attend Texas A&M. When Fisher heard this, boy, did he go off.
It's really despicable. It's despicable that somebody can say things about somebody and an organization. More importantly, 17-year-old kids. You're taking shots at 17-year-old kids and their families. And they broke state law.
Now, Fisher would cool off, but continued stating,
"It's amazing. Some people think they're God. Go dig into how God did his deal. You may find out about a guy that a lot of things you don't want to know."
Now, Fisher went on to call Saban a narcissist, and can we really say he's wrong? Saban might have said that we didn't buy one player, but is that really true? For a decade now, there have been stories of former Alabama 5-star recruits getting paid to attend the university, whether it's directly to them or in the form of their mother's brand new $400,000 car, or simply taking money from runners-up is up for debate. What's not up for debate, however, is just how much of these two coaches' friendships has deteriorated since their national championship days. Saban is essentially accusing Fisher of doing what he did, and Fisher is just kind of calling him names in retaliation. Will Texas A&M become the new SEC powerhouse by 2026? Only time will tell. But one thing is for certain, college athletes are making more money now than they have in the past. And what's really interesting is you don't have to be a master in psychology to know that Nick Saban feels a little intimidated in the new landscape of college football. Personally, I think it's great for college football. I am so sick and tired of seeing Alabama and Clemson, well, this past year it was Alabama and Georgia, consistently in the national championship each and every single year. Obviously, I don't think college football has it right yet. They have to figure out the fine line between amateurism and obviously getting these athletes that are generating so much money and revenue paid. But needless to say, this is a hysterical situation between these two coaches, and I'll keep you guys posted. Make sure you subscribe and turn on our notifications to get the latest update on the situation. And aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.